Hey, sisters and brothers, this is Wolf Hemora, and this is the maiden episode, the first episode of WDRS Talk. And I want to thank you very much for joining me. And this one is going to be a new endeavor for me, a talk podcast. I hope you enjoy the guests that I will be interviewing from now and from now on. So, again, thank you for your support. And we are going to have a guest. And our first guest is a blues artist from the 1990s in the Manila rock scene, Manila blues scene, Manila music scene. And he was also in a band called Dean's December back in the 80s during the new wave era. And a very great singer, a really good singer, especially the blues. This is Binky Lampano, and he went solo and he formed the band also called Lampano Alley back in the 90s, and that's when I first saw him play. And yeah, I was very impressed by his voice. He was like one of the, or probably the only blues singer in the Philippines at the time who was actually singing blues music. So yeah, he lives in Los Angeles now for almost 20 25 years, and I saw him back last year or maybe earlier this year when I played drums with the Melodies in Azusa. I think that was Azusa or something. And yeah, it was great to see him, and it's great to talk with him. So please enjoy this first episode of WDRS Talk with myself and Binky Lampano. All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me. This is WDRS Live Talk. No, not live. It's just WDRS Talk, brand new podcast that I started. And this is going to be the first episode, the maiden episode. And I am proud to have as a guest none other than a blues artist from the Philippines. And he is a recognizable name from the Filipino rock scene from the 1980s and 1990s. So please, sisters and brothers, please welcome to WDRS Talks maiden episode, Binky Lampano. Hello, sir.
Hello there. Hello there, Wolf. How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you very much for gracing us with your presence on the maiden voyage of WDRS Talk. it's
Well,
a sorry, it's
thank
a tall order, bro.
yeah. Well, thank you very much for tagging me along. I was, I'm just happily staying in the back. I've been happily staying in the background for the most part. So I haven't done music in a good while, and I'm not really even thinking about it. So, but it's an honor too. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. So anyway, like I said, um, maybe some folks out there don't know who you are because when did you come here to the States? When did
I,
you? I mean,
I
or when did you leave the scene, the music scene?
I've been here for close to about 20 years now. All in all, maybe around 23 or something, 23 or so years.
So
I had
that's
a spell. I immigrated, and then I had a brief spell in the Philippines, and then I went back. That was came here around 95, I think. 95, I believe 95.
wow.
Or
That
94.
early.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was a long time ago. I can't even remember it anymore. The One of the more outstanding things I just remember from that era was Heat. Watching that movie.
Oh, Heat.
Yeah, Heat. Yeah,
Robert De Niro, Al
yeah, yeah.
Pacino.
Al Pacino. Yeah,
Dude, I
quintessential
love that
Filipino.
movie, man.
Yeah, yeah. And
One
that's
of
yeah,
one of the best Hollywood gunfights.
exactly. It's exactly.
When that movie came out, the first thing the first thing that people would say is like, dude, that gunfight, man, that when they
Yeah,
robbed the bank, oh my god.
yeah,
Because I think that was the first time that Hollywood featured like those high powered weapons like that, man.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right?
And when, in fact, when it was shot here, apparently, a lot of people were disturbed by it because obviously you had real, even if they were blanks, you had real weapons loaded
Yeah.
with blanks. So it was, for the most part, it was terrifying. So that's what I recall, at least from that era. And
Yeah, even if you're shooting blanks, it's making the same noise.
well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, dude.
You go deaf anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So anyway, since we're let's stay on film first since we
Mm-hmm.
got into it, and then
Mm-hmm.
we'll go backward again.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming, of course, you were a kid in the 70s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah,
Were you old enough to watch movies? Because I was
yeah.
like I'm a little younger than you, so I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't watch like I would only watch Star Wars when it came out in the
Yeah,
theater itself,
yeah,
of
yeah,
course.
yeah.
And then I remember I watched the YMCA. I mean, you, you,
That-
you can't
yeah,
stop the music,
yeah,
dude.
yeah, yeah. I think that even had Bruce Jenner, right?
Oh wow, I don't remember, man.
I remember around that time there was "You Can't Stop the Music" and all that jazz.
All that
And,
jazz, I remember that.
yeah, and with Roy Scheider. And for some reason, I don't know what got us. Some of my pals wanted to watch, "You Can't Stop the Music" or something like that, and then I don't know why we ended up in all that jazz, but I kind of like all that jazz because of Ben Vereen.
Yeah, and
And
the music, man.
yeah, yeah, the music around that time, it was a great time for music.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So so what films do you remember as a kid?
As a
Like
kid,
what
the
what theater would you go to? I would go to Quad.
the first theater I remember ever going to, or I remember being brought there by my mom, was Gaiety Theater. This was in Ermita.
Okay.
Gaiety Theater is eventually became uh, this performance hall. I think Bert. He's the old director of School Bukol, and he sort of run that place. He owned that place. Blues Hall, I think, Ermita or something. What's the name of that place? I forget. But anyway, Gaiety Theater, and we watched, I believe, Snow White, and it was really a nightmare for me because the Wicked Witch.
It's scary, bro.
Yeah, man, I had nightmares of that, and that was my first. And, and then Enter the Dragon around 72 or 73.
Oh, wow, you saw that in the theater,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, in downtown Manila back then.
Wow. So for the uninitiated, Enter the Dragon is
Mhm.
one of the best movies of Bruce Lee.
Oh, of course,
And
Jerry
Bruce
White.
Lee is one of the best people that ever lived, man.
Yeah,
If
well,
there's no Bruce Lee, there would be no MMA.
yeah, there would be no free form.
No
Uh,
free form, man.
yeah, I remember then Bruce Lee, Jim Kelly, John Saxon, Bolo Young was still young.
I don't even recognize those
That
names, man.
Bolo Young is the big guy. He fought that big guy toward the end, and then what's his antagonist?
The opponents, you
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, his
And
antagonist there, the guy with the claws was Mister Han or something.
what
Yeah.
this is the one with Kareem, right? Kareem was there.
No, that's Game of Death, man.
Oh, Game of Death. Okay,
That
okay,
was Game
okay.
of Death. That was I think he died before that the filming of that
Right. It was
wrap.
finished.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
They had to. Game of Death
And
had Chuck Norris. Yeah,
oh yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And the Filipino dude.
Danny Inosanto.
Yes.
Yes, yes. The Phil Am guy. Yeah.
There we go. Again, another for the uninitiated in this Game of Death, another great movie of Bruce Lee
Uh-huh.
is what's his name? Freddy Inosantos.
Danny
Danny
Inosanto.
Inosanto.
Yeah, yeah. The Filipino martial artist. I
He
think
was
he was about
Arnis, right?
yeah,
He did
yeah,
Arnis as well.
yeah. Arnis. That's what he taught Bruce Lee, I think.
Wow.
Because he was,
Imagine that, man.
yeah, I think it was a San Francisco guy or something.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because Bruce Lee was lived there.
Yeah, yeah.
That's where he I guess migrated to
Hmm.
SF.
I think he was first in Seattle or something, and then he moved to San Francisco.
Right. No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah,
Seattle. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Because when you say Seattle, you say Bruce Lee, Jimi Hendrix. You know,
Ah,
the
yeah.
Sonics.
Mm,
It's,
grunge.
so anyway, do you remember seeing Star Wars?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
But before Star Wars was Jaws. Jaws, I remember where I saw Jaws, Magallanes Theater.
Oh wow.
And I
Nice.
had clear memory of that because I remember when the shark first came out of the water, an uncle of mine, di alam mo naman sa atin noon, we were standing room, right? My
Right.
uncle
Right.
was sitting on a ledge. He
Yeah.
fell off. Nagulat siya sa pati.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
And then on the way home, we managed to pick up something like a wallet, and it belonged apparently to a stewardess. And I don't know what happened, but we ended up buying some chicken after that.
No.
Those were the days, man.
Oh man. Oh,
Those were the
at
days.
Magallanes, man.
Uh-huh.
I saw some. Do you remember the Pancake House there in Magallanes Theater,
Yes, of course, of course.
dude?
Yes, yes. Uh, Star Wars. I think I saw. I'm not even sure. Maybe hold on. I think it's no. That's the second time I watched. I saw it. That was in Quad. The first time I believe was Harrison Plaza
Mm.
around that time. Yes, I couldn't believe it. It was like boom, man. Phew. Hanep.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted to be Luke Skywalker.
Oh man,
Yeah,
dude. It
right.
was. Yeah. Right. Yeah, dude. Yeah. I saw Star Wars in Quad with
Oh
my
yeah,
uncle. I
yeah.
remember it was with my uncle
Hmm.
because I guess my parents were a little too mature for like that, and it was the first time that sci-fi came out like that. So they were like, "What's that? That's for kids.
Yeah,
Whatever."
that's what they thought.
Yeah, that's what they thought, man.
Yeah, yeah,
So my
yeah.
uncle, who's the youngest of the brood on my mom's side,
Hmm.
he was much younger than my mom. So
Uh huh.
so he took me.
Yeah.
So he could still relate to the movie.
I've been all over. I've been all over Manila. Actually, I've I've gone to third-rate theaters. I remember I was maybe 9, 10 years old or something, sneaking into a third-rate theater because I would work for a grandfather who was a community doctor, and every day at the end of the day, he would give me like $3, and that was enough to take me from Santa Ana to Paco, where I can go to either Bellevue or New Paco Theater to watch, these double features. I would have a friend tag along and would pay for him as well. It was like uh, 150 for both of us, and we
Oh
were
my
just watching.
god.
Yeah, yeah. It was like that, man. It was like that.
Was
And
there
then
popcorn already? There was
no,
popcorn, no,
no, no,
no.
no, man.
Oh,
Those weren't the things in third-rate theaters. Basically, in the third-rate theaters, they sold popsicles on the
oh,
aisles, man. There'd be a
oh,
guy with eyes.
oh my God! So it's like watching baseball here.
Yeah, yeah, it's something like that. But
Yeah.
this is during the actual
During.
the actual show. Oh, it's popsicle.
Oh my God.
Man, what other theaters that you haven't? I think you haven't seen anymore. There was a theater, Buendia Cinema. There was a theater there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think my Dolphy movies I saw there.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. My dad would drop us off, and we'd just sit there, and he'd pick us up after the movie finished.
yeah.
That's it. Good memories of the scene there.
Did they ever? I was too young to. know this, but was Godfather ever shown in the Philippines?
Yes, it was. It was. Godfather was shown. Before that was, I'm not sure if that was around the same time as Serpico, Godfather, all that.
Godfather, the first Godfather was 72.
Yeah, that 72. It was shown. The one of the bigger deals around. No, no, it wasn't 72. Exorcist was like what, 76. I never even saw Exorcist. It's just I heard my folks talk about it, and being the religious people that they were saying, "Oh, that means the end of the world is coming." That was like
In
more than,
1976.
yeah, around that, almost 50 years ago for me.
Yeah,
So I don't
yeah.
know, but we're still
That's
rolling, right?
yeah, yeah. Actually, if you think about it, a lot of good classic movies were shown in the Philippines
Yeah.
during those that was the martial law years, and they got away with it, man.
Well, a lot of it were really, I don't know, for some reason. I remember when Doctor Strange Love was on. You had these noir films on Channel 2, on BBC 2 back then. In the afternoons, there was Doctor Strange Love. Uh, what's this other film? A lot of these Marcello Mastroianni films
Uh-huh.
and some Alain Delon. All those films, man. I can't remember their titles now, but I just sitting there in fascination. What the hell are they talking about except for the subtitles?
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, yeah. That was the 70s, man.
Wow.
A lot of people, as sad as I do not know, it's sort of some of all things, in spite of the dictatorship in the Philippines, there was a bright spot in terms of, if it was any form of rebellion, it's actually the art,
Yeah.
that sort of did it more subtly. Instead of exploding things, they basically blew your mind.
Yes.
And that's the main thing. I guess
Yes.
that's what art is all about. Instead of dropping bombs, you drop thoughts.
You drop thoughts which are more which
Yeah,
are more dangerous, man.
yeah, and more potent, right?
More potent.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's so weird. I think like right now I just realized now it's like I think all of those movies got through the dictatorship because I think the dictatorship or the minions of the dictatorship were not savvy enough to understand it.
Well, yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, I think a lot of it was for the sheer pleasure of it. Just, yeah, yeah, let's play it. Right. Then, then it got to the MIFF,
Oh yeah,
the
the
whole,
MIFF,
before that, of course, there was the bomba, the bomba era.
the bomba era.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Before that was like that's the late 60s, yung mga batuta ni Dracula or something like that, the
Oh my
ending.
god, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
I wasn't even born yet, man. I don't
Well,
know.
yeah, yeah, those are the things that from the old days.
Oh my gosh.
And you got to sit with the older folks for
You
that.
gotta sit with the
Or
OGs, man.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
It was fun.
All right. So since we're still there in your childhood, let's move over to music.
Mm-hmm.
So while all this is happening,
Mm-hmm.
what is happening to you and your music? Have you been touched by music already at this point?
Well, my father's family is, or at least my father is musical. My grandpa played the piano, but never really had sort of the inclination to pass it on to his kids. It was more like everybody just picked it up. I played the piano a bit, as I got older from listening to some of my friends, but I don't do it now. I don't even have the facility for it. Um, when I was growing up, my dad would invite people over to our house, to our dinky house uh, in Pasay, and we'd have sort of gather around and with a guitar player, we just sing and just sing stuff from Beatles and whatever was going on, and we would just sing. And I remember there was this barber that cut our hair for the better part of 30 years. And I tell you, man, bar none. This is fucking, I mean, bar none. He's one of the best guitar players that I have ever seen, bar none. He's the sort of guy. Oh, what do you want to sing?
Wow.
Okay, run it by me, and he'd play it, and he'd play jazz. He'd play something that he didn't even realize was jazz. He was
Oh,
just
wow.
that good. While you're singing, he's playing, and he was doing all these things, these chords that really I couldn't even figure out what the hell are these chords. These are not regular chords.
Oh, wow.
But he had that. He was just a barber. He was offered a job to do jazz, and he refused it. I just want to cut hair. I just want to do it. I just want to do this for friends, and I want to get a few bucks and drink. That's his life. Jeez, I miss that guy. He's one of the best musicians I've ever met.
And
And
where was this?
this was in Pasay.
Oh, okay.
This was in Pasay. And then, I had friends and everybody was singing everybody was singing in at least in my alley. Um and my father's kin, my father's brood lived there for, the better part of their lives since the 40s. And the good part is the alley was very musical too. We had neighbors who had that, and even the voice. So I thought about it, yeah. And but of course you never had designs yet. You never. I never had masters of the universe kind of thoughts in my head back then. And even as I grew older, I never really harbored that. It was more like, how can I make this sound me? It was always that. And I, even as I surprised myself because I could imitate stuff. And so basically, I coasted through life knowing that I would sing from time to time. There was gospel because I went to a Protestant school, or so I
Mhm.
thought. You know, and my grandfather uh, my grandfather was Baptist, so I went to Baptist church and I sang all these sad songs. Well, they're not supposed to be sad songs, but the way people sang them was so sad that,
Oh,
you know,
okay.
what the hell, man, if you're waiting on this, you might as well kill yourself now. Matter of speak. Oh, come on, man. It was just sad.
But I
It
thought
was,
I
yeah.
thought Baptist was the like the gospel music like the black folk here in the
Well, that's
states, right?
different. That's that's black gospel music. That's
Oh,
rendered by.
okay.
But you're talking about Bible Belt, white Bible Belt Baptist interpretations of music. That's another story.
Right.
And that's like singing, what a friend I had in Jesus. What eh, stuff like that. Things that you would hear beyond Amazing Grace. And
Right.
I knew tons of those tunes back then because that's the only way we learned. We learned by accretion. That goes with the culture. You have your hymns. You read it. You sang it a cappella. You didn't care. When you got
Hmm.
to church, at least you have some accompaniment. Somebody was playing the organ, or somebody was doing that in the background, and everything was in C. How could you miss, man?
Right.
Oh,
It has to be in one key so that
yeah,
everyone can hit those notes, man.
yeah, exactly. I mean, nobody stood there. Well, I kind of feel like it's a D flat. Well, shoot, man. So I'm at least that was my training. And then I the only thought that I seriously harbored was, well, I want to be a guitar player or something like that. So my dad got me a guitar, which I promptly lent to a friend, and then my friend promptly broke it. So me being the ADHD kind of guy, okay, there goes my ambition. I don't want this anymore. But I can play, but uh, all my bones are basically ruined now, and I can't do it. I can do a few chords, but that's it.
Right.
Yeah. So as
So,
I yeah,
oh,
go.
go ahead. Go ahead. No, continue, please.
So as I grew older, it's just by association. I met people who like music too. Um, 14, 13 or something. I had a good friend who was really hip. He was really hip because his dad was a merchant marine, and his dad always had the latest equipment every time he would arrive from his work. Uh, on a ship, and then he would have all these records. And my friends, even in for a place like Leverisa in Pasay, he had all the hip A&M records. The it turned me on to uh, Cal Jader, the what's this, the George Benson stuff, and all that. More even before Pinoy rock, I was really turned on to that, and Steely Dan.
Yeah.
He turned me on to it, and then when I got turned on to it, in spite of all the rest of the stuff that you hear, the 8 track, I look, would you know the 8 track
Oh,
uh,
yeah, yeah. Eight
yeah,
tracks. Yeah.
stuff, right?
Yeah.
So back then, these were on rotation, like Nazareth,
Wow.
Foghat, all those guys,
Oh my
Deep
God.
Purple. What's that? I think I got into Queen and Led Zeppelin or something like that. Jimi Hendrix, my neighbor, had this record, the Machine Gun. It was a
Oh,
yeah,
Band of
and
Gypsies.
oh, jeez, man. So
Machine
those
Gun.
were the things were just spinning in my head. Not that I wish uh, there was somebody smart up there who just gave me a bit of the skill to work it out. But I only had my voice.
Yeah.
So
Well,
this, yeah,
yeah. I mean, that's well, the voice is, I think, the most important instrument because
well, yeah,
that's how you,
yeah,
that's how you get those things from your brain and put out into the world, man.
well, yeah. Well, we're lucky,
Yeah.
and
So yeah, I remember 8 tracks. I was very young, and my mom's brother
mm-hmm.
had a Mustang,
Uh huh,
and
yeah, yeah,
it's just perfect 70s
mm-hmm.
Mustang 8 tracks.
Mm-hmm.
And look, I mean, I'm saying that looking back. Of course, when
Mm-hmm.
it was there, when I was there, I was a small kid, so it's like, okay, it's a cool car,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember the smell because it had leather seats. It was a real Mustang,
Mm-hmm.
Americanized. I don't know if they even sold Mustangs back
Mm-hmm.
then. He probably got it secondhand or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But yeah, I mean that time, um, I remember that. Yeah, I remember seeing Don McLean on
yeah,
TV.
yep,
I
yeah,
remember that
yeah, exactly,
as a kid, man.
yeah,
It's like every afternoon at Channel 9 or something. It's him
yeah, and in
The-
concert,
in concert. Yes, that's the one, bro.
yeah,
Yeah,
in concert, yeah, yeah, yes.
dude.
See, look
So
at that.
I think that was the first time I ever saw, I mean, actual footage of a white person, a Caucasian, a
Mm-hmm.
Westerner
Mm-hmm.
performing this music. And I was
Yeah,
like, and before that, it was just the music of my parents that was in the house, Frank Sinatra, that
yeah,
era.
yeah, Yeah.
and then you're hearing this bye bye Miss American Pie
Yeah.
with drums and full band, and like,
Yeah.
you know.
It's like the music of your time. And as I grew older, I had disputes with my dad. I understand, but I understand that you love Sinatra. He always thought that I never liked his music. When I did, but not sort of in a gushing way, but they were very much in my memory. And I was surprised at some point in my life when I managed to get myself a jazz band, that I actually still remember the words that I never bothered to memorize. So it was in my bloodstream, so to speak. Uh, so when I had, I had sort of that shift, that shift from my dad's music to my music. I was listening to Steely Dan. I was starting to get into other forms of stuff. New wave came in, right?
Hmm.
And I remember one thing that really struck me more than anything in terms of that era was, I think it was WXB back then,
Yeah.
and it was Dave Ryan. I forget the DJ. If it's Dave Ryan, I forget. It was a Saturday afternoon or a Saturday morning, and this is something fresh or something like that. And he played what is that? I think it was Tears for Fears, Head Over Heels. And man, and still that album for me is a watershed moment for that band. And I
Oh my
believe
God.
they were not able to replicate that.
No. That
And
they I mean, that's what broke them here in America.
yeah, and that predated U2's Joshua Tree, because
Yes.
that was the a foray really into American soul. That was really soul sounding.
That
It
is
wasn't.
soul music, man.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and geez, and even the black dudes, the s- the folks that I meet here from from that era, they would tell me, yeah, Tears for Fears, I know that, bum 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 bum, and they would sing it, and wow, and there you go. That's the cross pollination. So around that time, uh, I think it was my bass player, or the bass player of the band that I eventually joined, which
Which
became
is
Dean's December.
Dean's
You know,
December, yes.
yeah, saw me walking around with a guitar, and said, don't play the guitar anymore, man. Just sing.
Hmm.
And the first singer was kind of, he was kind of, he he was into Boy George in the Culture Club or
Oh
something
my
like
God.
that.
Okay.
And I guess that was it. That was what he was into. And what are you gonna do? Well, that's just nature, I guess. So, and he said he eventually became, part of the identity crisis.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, so they
The
have,
the
yeah,
male singer of
yeah,
Identity Crisis.
yeah, and then sing
Oh,
for
okay.
us, sing for us. And the band said, okay, let's do this. And then I started, what do you like? And they just started feeding me their music. And so basically, me being the parrot that I was, I just parroted what I heard,
Hmm.
because I never really had, I never really had a moment, a moment of really some time to think about it. And me having these deep set uh, issues with depression, but just marked with sort of these these moments of happiness by the music that I played.
Right.
So I just sort of rolled along with it until eventually it became us. It became Dean's December, But then again, I realized that Dean's December really, it had a shelf life. It's not like other bands. It's at some point that you know that most bands would just go on, would just keep rolling on, but it wasn't us.
Mm-hmm.
And so eventually, everybody just sort of went their separate ways. And of course, for the most part, the band, the bass player went to other bands. The guitar player eventually migrated to Canada to do IT, which is the same field that I'm in, since he was my classmate too, and and that's it. And then I went on to go try to do solo.
So
Uh huh.
where did the blues come in? Because
Yeah.
aside from
Yeah.
Dean's December,
Yeah.
which people from that generation recognize that band name,
Yeah.
and to your I would say transformation into a blues artist
Yeah.
in the 90s. So
Hmm.
where did the blues come into your life?
Well,
Blues music, I mean.
the blues came around for me. I really was. I was already all dried up by the late 80s. I was depressed. I had largely undiagnosed depression around that time, clinical depression. I I just didn't know what to do with my life, and I was hearing music, but I couldn't put my finger on it. And Manila being Manila, to hear that music, where are you gonna get that music? Where do you hear it? I hear it from time to time at some of my friends' place, and then and I realized, shoot, this is just second nature to me, because I go back to the time when I really like around that time, when before Steely Dan, I was listening to a lot of Bob Dylan as well. And
Mm-hmm.
where's Bob? Where is Bobby coming from? And so I sort of tried my best to research the beginnings or the origins, and found out that, hey, this is it. But where do I listen? I listen to Clapton, but for me, Clapton was kind of light.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't what I was looking for. It wasn't like it was coming from the way I heard it was like it is the blues, but it is already, smooth out. I
Yeah,
needed it rough.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
even if you would say Eric Clapton is a great musician, it
Yeah.
still was mainstream, you
Yeah.
know?
I needed the roughness of a muddy. I
Right,
needed the roughness of real blues.
right.
And so, it took me years until I thank him to this day. My good friend Butch Saulog, who plays keyboards
Mm-hmm.
and also plays, really excellent drums. He
Oh,
was
really? I
sort
didn't
of
know that
a
about
great
him.
drummer, I tell you.
Oh,
And you know, times, the best times we played, he reminded me so much of Mitch Mitchell, and he could do all of these
really? He
things.
can play like that?
Yeah, he's really a natural, and he
Wow.
introduced me to what he was listening to. And I think the first he gave me a John Coltrane record, and this record I remember very much. Back in the day, I don't know if I told you this, but back in the day, around the 70s, when there was still Oracion, and it was played on these, I think, DZMB, and that's an AM radio back then. Every 6 o'clock, time for the Oracion, and then the bells,
Oh,
bang, bang, bang.
the Angelus, is that the one?
Yeah, Angelus, yeah.
Yeah.
And so, uh, what's this? That album, John Coltrane and Johnny Hartman, was a staple in I think it was the late 60s, early 70s, around 70, 71. And I remember it very much because to this day, because that day was, I think it was just a perfect day. The sky was deep purple, becoming nighttime, and that music played. The very thought of you make my heart sing like an
Oh,
angel
okay.
on the wing. And then, geez, when I heard that, when I heard that from this album, so that's where it came from. And so that got me into researching, to
Hmm.
digging up what I can. And second to that, he gave me really, that really freaked me out. It was, I think, Giant Steps, a
Oh,
tape of that. I listened to it for a couple of days and then put it aside and went back to listening to Steely Dan. I wasn't listening to jazz like that. I never heard jazz played like that, let alone, in the 20, I think 24 years or 23 years of my life, I never heard anything played like that.
uh-huh.
But so I set it aside. 3 months later, I was getting restless with Steely Dan, so I played this tape again, and suddenly it made sense to me.
Made sense.
Giant step.
Yes.
And then your mind just exploded. That's it. That's when the bomb finally set off.
Oh, dude. I get it, man. I get it, dude.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun,
Ah,
dun, dun, dun,
oh,
dun.
Jesus, man.
Putang ina, pare.
It's a killer. Now it's an etude. It's just a study for all these hot shots. But back then, it came from nothing. That's
Yeah.
why. That's why when you think about stuff, yeah, this guy can do all the runs like he was counting beats. But before that, it was Mitch Mitchell. Before Mitch Mitchell, it was nothing, right?
Yeah.
Before Mitch, there was Elvin Jones, and before Elvin Jones, there was, yeah. But this innovation, how it happened, how did it happen? That flash and shit. That really happened to me. Wow. And so I was getting really deep into it now. They were feeding me stuff that I barely heard.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the lyrics I can't even make out because of bad audio back then, the tapes.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't know if I was making up lyrics until I got here, and that was when I finally, I would say I was finally able to associate with old timers
Right.
who played blues, who played R&B back in the days of the Chitlin circuit.
Wow.
That's it.
So did you, since you mentioned that, you had you experienced depression, did you relate to the blues because of your depression? Did you find solace in that music?
It
Or
it wasn't so much as that, but it's just the sense of, uh, because for the most part, I have this sort of weird idea about rock and roll and the blues. You know,
go for it.
a rock and roll guy would shoot himself in the head. A blues
Uh,
guy would just drink.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Two
That makes
things.
sense, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, that made more sense to me. And
Okay.
it's like I, for all the things in life, it's yeah, forgive me, but alcohol was my only friend.
Uh-huh.
It's my long-standing friend, but
Right.
not anymore.
Uh-huh.
But back then, it was sort of, it was killing me, but it helped me keep going on.
Right.
All these. I guess, in a matter of speaking, if you want to be light about it, it's just it's just my personal telenovela, so to speak. Your blues tunes, your blues lyrics.
Mhm.
Others, love the telenovela rock and roll.
Yeah.
Some like world WWF wrestling, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Some
Yep.
like politics. That's their telenovela.
Right, right. I get it. I get it. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But mine is blues and jazz.
Yeah.
And finally, I found my home. You know, after searching for years, because it's like going to a 99-cent store as you grow up in the Philippines with limited means of
Hmm.
access. And what do? You just follow whatever's out there. Yeah.
Right. Well,
So,
that's pretty much the Filipino way, man.
well, yeah, yeah, we
Because
we
we because we didn't back there. We didn't have access to what we have access here, man.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
here in this country, you have access to anything, man.
yeah, and you can
Oh
be
my God.
focused. That's
Y-
that's one of the things here, but in the Philippines, it's more diffuse.
Yeah, it's more diffused.
It's it's like when you think of somebody like what's his name, the Journey singer. Uh,
Oh, Arnel.
yeah, he could
Arnel
sing
Pineda.
everything.
Yeah.
You know, but but hey, he fit the bill.
Yeah, he fit the bill.
He fit the bill.
He
That's
fit
it.
the bill.
You know,
I mean,
it doesn't matter.
I mean,
It doesn't
yeah.
matter if the next guy, across the street would say, I can sing better than him, but you don't fit the bill.
Yeah, you don't fit the bill. Yeah.
And the guy fit the bill. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Okay,
So
so now
yeah.
move fast forward again to your
Hmm.
to so so did you so you went solo, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So the, that was already NU 107 times. That's when I started hearing
Yes.
your name.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I had a few attempts at becoming, say, a DJ, but I never really had, so called a focus, neither neither the patience to, just to keep on playing the same thing.
I know,
A lot
man.
of things were going on in my head, and I could barely control it. And no disrespect, some people have been able to make a good living out of it for
Right.
years,
Yeah. No,
until,
you would be more of a free form DJ,
well, yeah, I wouldn't
rather than
even care if I
an
scratched the record. Hey, take that out. Come on. It's
yeah.
like somebody from the 60s. So let's play Bob Dylan for the next 2 hours. Let's
Yeah,
play like a
exactly.
Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's me.
I don't know if you do you remember do you know Jim Ladd? He's a
Mm-hmm.
radio personality here in LA. He
Mm-hmm.
used to be with KLOS, the
Mm-hmm.
classic rock station. But then, I mean that station wala na, it's Baduy na.
Mm-hmm.
So and I think he's on Sirius XM now.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what his program was because when I first came here to the States,
Mm-hmm.
um syempre TNT muna.
Yeah. Well,
Straight
hey.
Pinoy. So I got a job as a security guard,
Mm-hmm.
and my shift was an graveyard shift
Mm-hmm.
in a parking lot
Mm-hmm.
in Orange County in a furniture store.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm just there. I'm there from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m.
Yeah.
And at the time, David Aguirre
Mm-hmm.
had just come over. He followed me a year later
Mm-hmm.
after I came here.
Mm-hmm.
So my uncle hired him too, so it was two of us
Mm-hmm.
in the car
Yeah.
for I don't know how many months we had that gig, or
Uh-huh.
maybe weeks. But
Uh-huh.
every night we would listen to Jim Ladd
Mm-hmm.
on the radio, and that's what he was. He was just free form, dude,
Yeah.
free form.
Yeah.
It was so cool. I mean, like, this is the way radio's supposed to be,
Yeah,
man.
that's my job. Yeah, I mean that's my dream job. If I can do something like that where they wouldn't mind, it's like having, a forgetful uncle run the radio station, whom you don't mind because he's cool,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Who would just play music and just, oh, I'm sorry about that. Let me put in a new album, new record there. Okay, let's do this. Okay. Hey, that's the best thing. I
yeah. And that's how I patterned my own podcast, my own
Yeah,
radio show, WDRS.
yeah,
And it's exactly like that. It's just free form.
that's
And it all depends, man, with me because it's live. I don't have a set list.
mhm,
I'll just pull up some songs that I like. I haven't played in a while,
Hmm.
and then when it's all about that first song, man.
Yeah.
It comes if you hit that if you hit your vibe that you want on that first song, you're good. All the next songs will be like, okay, I know what to do. I know where to go. I know what to do here. You
Hmm.
know.
I
So
think
it's
the problem now is there's really no relationship anymore between the DJ, the music, and the listener.
and the listener, yes,
It's gone.
it's gone.
It's gone. It's like you might as well. That's a template for, oh, that DJ can be anything. It could be a computer.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
Well, I would say that the new DJ, I mean the new era DJ is the live DJ. You know, the like the Tiestos and the
oh yeah, I
I
don't
mean
even.
that I mean in terms of playing music and having a relationship with your listener,
Mhm.
then yeah. But of course, you can't also I mean it's different when you're on radio. It,
That's not really a relationship. What is your relationship? Well, we were grooving. Grooving what? What words?
well, yeah, yeah, I know.
I mean,
No, I
it's
get
like
it. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, right. I understand with DJ Tiesto or something like that, or I don't even know who they are now.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
where did you meet? On how does it feel? Like a Rolling Stone, or are you Mr. Jones? Stuff like that. That sort
Right.
of
Yeah.
gets embedded in a myth, in the myth of music,
Yeah.
and it's gone. There's no. I mean, I understand. Maybe you don't like the guy. The guy's slightly detestable or anything like that. But it's a rolling kind of thing. Well, I dig. Everybody digs
Yeah.
until everybody gets out of it getting something.
Yeah.
And
I mean like me it's like that ideal radio station would be just let's say to fill up a 24-hour cycle, let's say four DJs in
yeah,
quarters, and um, four to six DJs, and all of them have their own style,
yeah.
have their own set of records that they go to.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like so let's say the first 4 hours is me, and then you get this music from me. You get some classic rock, you get some metal here and there, you get some
Mm-hmm.
Kiss, but I'll put in John Coltrane too. So
Mm.
I'm weird like that. And then
Yeah,
maybe the next shift it's Binky Lampano shift, and you have the thing. So the personality of the DJ is in the music that he plays.
yeah. And the thing is, why not have somebody there to talk about the music too? Oh,
Exactly.
besides
Yes.
the DJ, come on, talk like the old days. Let's talk about this music. What makes it?
Right.
Oh, okay, hey, have a sip first. Okay, let's talk about this. What got you into this? I
Mm.
mean, I would appreciate that because now I'm not really focused anymore. I'm completely my I have to really uh separate myself for about 6 months to get back into focus.
Uh-huh.
I my capacity for music now has been substantially diminished. That even when I think about, I used to relish the thought of, oh, I can go on stage and sing. But now when I think of it, I can go on stage. What am I gonna do? I guess I'm just gonna shut up and just bolt and run. I mean, I remember there are these stories, these fantastic stories I've heard of some artists back then uh, from friends of mine or acquaintances of mine, and there's one. I don't know if you heard of John Martin. He's a great uh, uh, British folk jazz singer. He's really really good,
Mm.
and uh, he's deep, really, really deep. But anyway, apparently one time when this friend of mine saw him, what John Martin did was look at the audience, and then throw up on stage,
Oh
leave.
my God.
And I heard stories of, you know, Van Morrison in the 70s from guys who saw him in from a guy who saw him in the 70s, and told me he saw him at Madison Square Garden, and apparently Van Morrison had his back turned to the audience the whole gig. And, these are the things that these are relationship formings. Why would you go there? I mean, I've seen Van Morrison a couple of times,
Uh-huh.
and the most memorable thing to these concerts for me was, in Vegas, you had these you had these young ladies being squired by older men, and obviously you know what the deal is.
Yeah.
And the young ladies were tuned out. Who the hell is this guy? He looked like a midget Neil Diamond.
Oh
Van
my
Van
God.
Morrison, had his, eyebrows. I don't know who even gave him the idea to have his eyebrows like that. But he was wearing these big ass Miles Davis like glasses
Uh-huh.
and playing on the piano. And I was thinking, who the hell is this? Is this Neil Diamond? And then when the music was, you know, when the music was almost, I think it was his final tune. All of these white ladies, these middle-aged white ladies came up on stage and saying more, more, more. And the guy did what? You know what the guy did? He just left.
Uh,
He didn't even say, didn't even acknowledge anybody. What the fuck? I said, what the hell?
yeah, he did
These
his
are,
thing and got out of there, man.
yeah. That's. I'm thinking of music. I gotta, even until now, I can't wrap my head around. I gotta be on stage. Even if I like singing with my friends, I feel like I just want to go home.
Uh-huh.
I really have that feeling.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
No, I know what I know what you mean, man.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, there's just times that you just don't want to do it, man, you know.
And so until maybe again the spirit moves you,
Yeah.
well, maybe. But I sort of had this deal uh, with myself when I was younger. I won't stay a second more or a second longer if it's not there, because that would be dishonest. And
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I hear you.
So anyway, when I met these guys here, these old timers here, I was
Where did you meet them in here in Los Angeles?
yeah, I was playing in Crenshaw. I was singing in Crenshaw and all these places where, you had these jams, and you had these journeyman musicians and old timers from the doo-wop era. You know, some of them on their, but man, they were sharp.
Grabe.
Oh, when one of those guys, I remember one guy who used to be with the Penguins. It was an L.A. They were an L.A. act uh,
Mm.
from the doo-wop era. But geez, when this guy sang, I didn't want to sing anymore. I said, you have no business being here on stage. What are you gonna do? No way, man. No way. And this guy was like a blunt instrument, man. He was just like pummeling you with with the rhythm in his voice, the force in his voice, the clarity.
Uh-huh.
And these are the things that I bore in mind, and they sort of crystallized. Well, if I'm gonna form a band, it's gonna be like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when I started courting my team, and that's why I had Edwin for guitar, Vergara, Simon, who's now the premier bass, one of the premier bass players in the Philippines.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
He was
Lin,
that thin guy. He was thin, right?
no, 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 no. Yeah, thin. He was
Just
thin back then.
yeah, back
We
then
were all,
when I saw you guys play, yeah, I remember you
yeah,
said
yes.
like this guy's so thin, man.
Jojo and Jojo on drums and Tom Colvin on harmonica.
Yeah, Tom. Yeah.
And we have a revolving cast of guests, who were mostly expats. One was Anders, who's really a great harmonica player from Sweden, who ran uh, Lux or Electrolux marketing back then.
Oh,
And another one was the headmaster of IS, Brian McCauley, who played both saxophone and trumpet.
wow.
Yeah, and those were, I think, for what it's worth, I would rather have had the alley around that era, sort of encased in amber, in the memory of people of music.
And we're talking about Lampano Alley, right?
Yes, yes,
Hmm.
yes. And the end of the road.
So
Yeah.
so how did you find these guys, and how did you know that these guys like the blues music?
Well, I wouldn't say that exactly, but I sold the idea to them. So some of them were sort of mates from way back, new wave. They were doing things, and we were all doing things, and I just sort of extrapolated from there. What can they do beyond this? Because obviously you can't. y- I mean, what happened to new wave was like now, for the most part, it's a sideshow act. All these guys that back in the day, say if you were gigging at Benedictine Abbey,
Uh-huh.
they would have these staples of modern English, right?
Right.
And now you just go to, basically, you go to a park and you can see them play for free,
Oh yeah.
and you
Modern the
yeah,
actual modern English.
yeah, and you realize that basically they're hand to mouth as much as you are now. They
Yeah.
are they are basically gunning for every possible gig that they can get, whether
Yeah.
it be at a skate park, whether it be just a gig.
Yeah.
Jeez, I don't want to end up. I didn't want to end up like that.
Right.
It's like I gotta get myself a real day job.
A real day job, yeah. So I can do my art.
Yeah, if you can do that, at least you can do it on your time.
Yeah.
You're not always stressing out for where are you going to get the next buck.
Yeah.
Obviously everybody's grinding to it. You got you got everybody's good looks. You maybe have the girls if you're lucky,
Yeah.
or whatever, but eventually at the end of the day, hey, you got to pay the bills at the end of the month,
Oh fuck yeah, man.
right?
You gotta keep those lights on, man.
Yeah. What are we gonna do? Just do devil horns, and then when we go home we're in tears, man. What the hell, man? It's another $500 night.
Yeah, man. I mean that's the reality of it. I mean,
Yeah,
that's the one thing that I discovered when I came here to the States.
yeah,
Because you know how it is back home, back in the Philippines.
mm,
The mere fact that there is already a backline when you get to the bar,
yeah, exactly.
it's like that's half the battle already.
Yeah,
and and then you get even not if you don't get paid by cash, you at least get paid uh with some food if the bar had a kitchen.
yeah, yeah.
It's like here, man, you ain't nothing. You
Well,
bring your shit, you
yeah.
pay
You
for your
haul,
gas, and you sometimes don't get paid, man.
you haul ass, and that's it.
My god.
Yeah, I I tell
And then
you.
and then I'm sorry,
Mhm.
and then also the idea of touring, because
Yeah.
we would back in the day, three-headed dog
Hmm.
or locomotive, we would play gigs uh and with other bands, and then we would make friends with the other bands, and
Hmm.
they would be touring. They'd be like, oh, we're from the East Coast. I'm like, what the you
Hmm.
What? You drove all the way here to California from the East
Yeah,
Coast? We're like, yeah. I
yeah.
mean, and then I mean, they weren't. I didn't know who they were. They weren't famous.
Hmm.
They had their own van. They had to squeeze it all in the van,
Yeah.
and I'm like, shit, man. Because when I came here to the States, I was already in my 30s.
Uh huh.
So touring at that at that time, to
Hmm.
me it was like, oh my god, that's hard work. These
It's a
are
drudgery.
that's
Yeah.
meant for 18-year-olds, 20-year-olds,
Yeah.
23-year-olds, man.
Buti pa sa Pinas, you have all these assistants, these production assistants
Right.
who would do your every bidding,
Yep.
maybe even haul ass for you,
Yeah.
right?
Right. Yeah.
But here, it's like the first time I remember I got in the 90s, I saw, all these players and they had their own equipment. I was wondering why are they hauling their own equipment?
Yeah.
I said, why wouldn't they? The guy was, why wouldn't they? That's the stuff.
That's the real thing.
I mean, you call yourself drummer and you don't have drums?
Yeah.
The hell
Dude,
is
I
that?
didn't dude, in Wolfgang, I didn't have any drums until the friggin' fourth album,
Oh,
dude.
yeah, exactly. I mean, what the hell? I don't know.
I
But
didn't have my own drum set until our fourth
and
album.
I'm thinking, yeah, we're luckier in Manila.
We oh so much luckier.
I'm lucky. We're luckier there, but you got to remember, as opposed to America. I mean, Manila, you can tour that as many times as you want, and after that, you've seen everything,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah. Manila's a small town if you think about it.
Yeah, yeah. And then after that, what are you gonna do next time? Will you eat fire? Will you do some? Exactly. I mean, look, I don't know if audiences really have that focus. As much as everything about modern life now has ruined that. You
Right.
know, I remember when I was singing the blues in Crenshaw with all these bands. It, I didn't know what the f I was talking about, but I just sang, and people listened.
Yes.
Nobody was fidgeting on their phone.
Yeah.
Well, that was before that, but
Yeah, yeah,
no, they really, and that was, I said, that's the attention that I require.
yeah.
That's what I want from my band. That's why when the alley came out, a lot of people think, I'm kind of odd, weird, annoying, you know, in the least bit, or uh, at 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 worst, they found me really. This guy is a mofo.
Well, I think it's only because that you were really because I got it when I first saw you live. I got it right away. I got it that you were expressing yourself. It wasn't an act. I knew it wasn't an act because I knew, okay, this guy is he's expressing himself like Filipinos don't express themselves.
It's like drawing out the devil, but when you get off the stage, you got to pull the devil back in,
Yeah.
and it's hard,
Yeah.
and I got to be always 150%, and doing that sometimes takes its toll on your
Oh yeah.
psyche and your relationships, because of course, obviously, people will have their views on, hey, that's just a gig.
Mm.
But you're thinking, but there's no tomorrow,
Yeah.
right?
It could be my last gig, man.
Yeah. But
You
when
know?
you're out of it, it's like being a soldier. When you're out of the war, you're looking for it because it's hard to pull back.
Yeah.
It's You got to learn, and perhaps the better part of maybe us growing up would be learning how to pull that back, and to
Mhm.
be, now we're on this. We're just trying to be decent people, decent human beings.
Yeah.
We realize life is short. You know, the gig is up, it's done.
Yeah.
We're off it. And how are we going to deal with life as we know it?
As
How
we
are we
know it.
going to deal with people whom we appreciate or care about? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where I am now. And
Hmm.
I just still thank my lucky stars. I'm
Yeah.
learning lessons every day. Music is still beautiful. There's still I got a lot of it. And I wish I could sit again and just listen to it all day.
Right.
Uh, Now you have all these mundane concerns like making bacon, right? Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I got to listen to this, but my students are waiting for me. Meanwhile,
Oh,
in the
yeah.
Zoom room,
Yeah.
and a racket is starting because I'm not there.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. That's life, man. I mean,
Well, yeah,
wouldn't it be nice like the Beach Boys songs? Like wouldn't it be nice to
yeah,
just
yeah,
I can listen to music all day long, man?
yeah. It's just that we have that. We still I think uh, eventually as I grew older and I'm past the midpoint, and I'm thinking now, not that I haven't been thinking. I'm thinking about I was thinking about all these things about how life was short when I was in my 20s.
Mm-hmm.
But of all things, that would be that I would be wet on when it was raining. It wasn't really the aptitude
Right.
to go through life, as regularly as I can. I had to learn it,
Yeah.
and we have for some folks maybe you have to do it tooth and nail. So that the music there is just it's helping you out. It's making you also pull back and make you think that yeah, the music is this, and it's good to summon out the demons
Mm.
because you have to take them out.
You have to
But you
take him out.
also
You have to
but
take him out for a walk, man.
yeah, and you have to walk on the wild side
Yeah.
and then come back,
Then come back.
because that's the only way you know your worth.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. It's
y-
it's it's the balance. I mean, it goes
yeah,
back to the balance of life. It's like,
mm,
I know what you mean, man, because when I perform, dude, I'm like I tell people it's like you want to see the real me.
mm,
You watch me perform. That's the
yeah,
110%
yeah,
full expression of my soul that I can give. I cannot give more than that.
hmm,
And then aside from like you said, breathing fire or something,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
doing cartwheels,
yeah, or doing cartwheels, but so yeah, but when that last note happen, the bam, and then you hear the crowd roar, and
yeah,
then you say your bias, you throw drumsticks into the crowd, and then
uh,
you're adrenalized, you get into and then when you go
uh,
back into the hotel room, you just let it go, man. Just leave
yeah,
it out there
yeah. That's the
because you can't
problem with me.
you
Yeah,
can't bring those demons you can't bring that
yeah,
demon back with you because then you're gonna
yeah,
party all night long.
yeah. Well,
You're
in my case, I didn't want to party out long anymore, but the demons were still there.
mm-hmm.
And so all my life has been the quest for at least a night of perfect sleep. And I have a few nights of really perfect sleep.
Yeah.
It's worse than being, let's say, the worst criminal in the world. Maybe they can sleep better. But, because of my condition, I can't sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And when I can't sleep, you hallucinate, man.
Yeah, man. Uh-huh.
And that's what happens. It's like you're insane when you just can't sleep.
Yeah.
And half of the time you're living in your head. Meanwhile, people think that you're a jackass because how come this guy just, says all these things? Because you're you're on the edge, man. You haven't slept.
Yeah,
And
puyat ako, putang ina niyo.
yeah, gusto ko lang matulog. I remember I was in Singapore. We
Oh,
we played
wow.
what's this mosaic music, the
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
the subsidiary uh of Montreux Jazz Festival. The
Right.
first Mosaic music, man, I was so high, on adrenaline. My mates told me, "Oh, we're heading out. How about you?" I said, I'm just going back to the hotel. I just want to sleep. So I went to the hotel, soaked myself in a tub, did that. I still couldn't sleep until the next day we had to leave for Manila. I haven't slept until I got home.
Holy shit.
And that was like I was going on for more about 48 hours. And people think, "What? Are you a meth on something?" No, I don't do that. All I'm looking for is sleep. And so you
That's a
couple that
good song title, man.
yeah. And you couple that with drinking to try to get to sleep and you
Yeah.
can't.
Shit. You
And,
just got drunk.
and yeah, exactly. And
Oh
what are
my
you going to
gosh.
do, man?
Yeah.
What are you going to do? I had no shoot. I had no wherewithal. It's, so it's a condition that I had to deal with. I still deal with,
Mm-hmm.
and I know I will have to deal with for the rest of my life.
Uh-huh.
And like anything, at some point, you just accept the fact. Well, there's nothing I can do about that. If I can sleep, well, fuck it. I'm just going to. I'm just got. I think the best thing I can do is relax regardless. You try to do that and try
Yeah.
to be these are challenges.
Yeah.
I said I'm not even rock and roll anymore, and I still have these rock and roll symptoms, man.
Right. Rock and roll symptoms. Yeah, that's right. I'm the same way, man. I
Yeah,
sleep at 3 a.m., dude.
yeah,
I sleep at 3 a.m. I can't help it.
man.
Because I've been sleeping at 3 a.m. since fucking since I started playing music.
Hmm.
Because that's the life. Those are the hours. Those are the musicians' hours.
Well, now I try to cut that. But all that being said, as we got into our music, that was sort of the ebb and flow. And man, every time we played the blues and this and that, and I would think in my head all the corners of music of that the music that we're playing, and I would be like a rat in a maze, trying to look for all possible exits
Mm-hmm.
in every possible nook and cranny of that maze. And that's how my mind works. And sometimes I would go on stage, it's like you have a picture and that's it. You're seized by that more than what you have on the crowds. And it can be muddy, but you can sing muddy your way. You can sing, sunny boy your way. You can sing whatever your way. But the thing is, that's it. I found the bag that I was in.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, like I said, some things have shelf life,
Yeah.
and that's it.
How
And
long
some
how long did Lampano Ali last?
well, we lasted from 90. We started around 97 and 2015. Off and on. We were off and on after 2000. We were off and on.
Yeah, well,
But
you
our
were living
last,
here already, right?
last gig was in Memphis, the blues competition in Memphis,
Oh yeah, I
the
remember that.
international blues competition in Memphis,
Yes, I remember that.
and that was it. And I think that I saw the end of my road. I was ill. I had these issues with cardiovascular issues,
Uh-huh.
and I was impaired. I had an injury, which I still nurse until now. Wala na. I mean, I have a cane I have to use from now. I'm trying to wean myself off of it, but really, it's just a part of my life now. I have to
Yeah,
live with
right.
it.
Yeah.
That's life.
Yeah. Well, man, I mean, you are a blues man, so shit.
Well, yeah.
if, yeah, I mean, if there's anyone who's felt the blues, it's you, man. Shit. You
Well,
know. I mean, literally feeling it, you know.
Well, now I would say, I appreciate this. I appreciate meeting folks like yourself, whom I would have had all the time in the world back then, but for some reason we never really crossed paths.
No,
And,
not at all.
and some of you guys who might have thought that, I'm kind of standoffish or I have these things going on in my head because
Hmm.
it was all jumbled up back then.
Yeah,
Now it's clear. Now it's, you're more appreciative of things. You can,
yeah.
walk slowly and smell the flowers,
I guess during that time, may I know what you're talking about your persona being standoffish or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I heard those things before I saw you play in weekend. It was weekends
Mm-hmm.
live.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess your reputation preceded you. That you had, I don't know, because it did with me.
Yeah,
I
but
s- I, you re- I heard about you before I saw you.
mm-hmm.
But then when I saw you play, when I saw you sing, I was like, this is cool, man. I mean, he's and in my head, it's like, yeah, this guy is expressing himself in a way that Filipinos don't usually do. So maybe that's why it comes off as like that. But to me at the even at the time, I would look. I can remember feeling. I was like, he's just expressing himself, man. I mean, and I would rather see someone express themselves like that rather than kind of taking taking time until the fifth song to really, it's like with you, it's like one, two, three, four, boom. Here's my soul, fuckers. Deal with it.
Well,
Which I appreciate.
well,
Yeah.
well, I appreciate that there are, folks like yourself who see it that way. But it's really, I don't fault anybody but myself. That's it. I never had that aptitude. Some say, it's an emotional intelligence or something, a stage, emotional stage intelligence of some sort.
Hmm.
But when I'm sort of focused on the music and I'm running rings around it, I forget that.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
and
Because you're in
it
the
seems
zone.
like anybody, so much as taps you, you're jolted out of your you know
You're
whatever,
trans or
your trance or your misery
something.
or something like
I
that.
remember. Yeah, because I remember, dude. I remember this. I can see it right now.
Mm-hmm.
And you were even waving your fingers like this.
Mm-hmm.
You were waving your fingers because you were really it's like this guy knows what the fuck the lyrics are. He means what he's saying because he's pointing at people. He's waving his finger. That I can still picture it in my mind's eye right now.
There
You
there
waving your finger like that while reciting whatever lyrics those were,
yeah there
because you felt those lyrics, man.
mhm.
you
there
know
there's an element of our culture that that makes us refuse being having our feet held to the fire by art.
Mhm. By
And
art, yes.
yeah, it kind of, well, it makes me think, or it makes you, what the hell is this guy saying? I guess this guy is crazy. It's like one time I had a write up like that. He was too drunk. And guy maybe didn't half realize that I was getting drunk because I didn't like what I was seeing and I just wanted to be out of it completely. But even then I realized I can't do that forever. I I had to find something. I had to it's like you go back to home. When once you got to find that one. You got to find that one, man.
You gotta
And it
find that one.
yeah,
Yes.
if it takes you all your life, man, you
Yeah.
got to find that one.
Yeah.
And once you get it, and maybe and hopefully, you have again your lucky stars to thank. You will keep on doing it, and you will keep on practicing doing one until you perfect it, and thus mm, at at the end of the road that you take, you have become a better person. And I think
Yeah.
that's what music is all about eventually. I think it's not only reminding us that we're such miserable bastards or whatnot, but it's also reminding us what it might be like this. But y- there's a light at the end of this tunnel that we're all chasing or that we're
Right.
all expecting. It doesn't matter. It might be the darkest music that you're. It's like when you think about it. What is this band? Mars Volta.
Yeah.
Have you listened to them?
Yeah, I love the Mars Volta. Yeah, yeah.
Shoot, it's like stream of consciousness. What the hell is this guy saying? Right?
Exactly. And
It's like,
and it's like and at first, I mean, if for the untrained ear,
mhm.
it would sound like chaos.
Yeah,
But for the trained musician, it's like, what the fuck?
yeah,
It's like it's it's controlled chaos, which is like the
yeah.
best kind of chaos,
And
man.
and what is happening? What are they searching for?
Yeah.
That's it. And I think in many ways we're all like that, in different forms, in different variations. It's a search, you know. Some get too dark. Some want to end their search right away. And
Right.
unfortunately, the likes of the Hendrixes, the Jim Morrisons, the Janis Joplins, the Kurt Cobains, the Robert Johnsons of this world, who went before their time.
Yeah.
But
Kurt Cobain, Amy Winehouse.
yeah, Amy Winehouse, the 27 Club, they call us.
Yeah. Dude, you know what? I mean, Amy Winehouse, dude. I mean,
Hmm.
it's like every time, because one her album is one of my favorite albums,
Yeah,
and every time I play it, I'm like, "Tangina, sayang pare,
talaga.
so sayang pare."
And you're saying it's like fuck, man. I think her final music was just basically to perfect her personality or her person,
Yeah,
and 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 I don't know what happened. I can't say she failed. I can't. Uh,
but
I
I mean, I think maybe it would be, I don't know, man, because she was after that album, she just became a superstar, and if
yeah,
you can't handle superstardom, you're gonna die, man.
exactly, exactly. That's the whole thing.
Yeah,
A lot are good. A lot have it's that potential, that initial uh, explosion of consciousness about, say, an artist or an art. But then, the art itself doesn't have that much of a momentum to go on. It's like it's got to be distilled, like Amy Winehouse. This is it, and after that, I'm out.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Drop the mic. It's like
Yeah,
that.
it's like, how are you gonna top that album, man?
Yeah,
I mean, that's part of the pressure. It's like, shit, I gave everything to that album. What am I gonna do now?
yeah,
So she has to, like you said, find the one again.
yeah,
And she
and
was probably just having the hardest time finding the one again, you
yeah,
know?
yeah, and there are many artists like that.
Yeah.
And lately I've been listening to older and older music and stuff when music was like when I we were doing music when I was a child, and it was just like a campfire, and I was listening to Neil Diamond, and I was saying, why the hell am I even listening to this? But I listened. Jesus, I said, man, this guy was on something, around that time. It's
Yeah.
like the likes of Carole King and all the rest of these, uh,
Dude. Yeah.
or Bacharach, and you think of that, and it doesn't matter. I think it's like saying, hey, you're an asshole if you don't like Bacharach or something, you know.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, I mean, Burt Bacharach. That's one of the earliest music that I loved
Yeah,
because it was so nice to listen to,
it
man.
was just pure, man. It was just pure.
It was
It,
pure. Yeah.
parang the initial onset of the Beatles. It was so pure. It was all it. And I understand why I have these guys who saw the. I know these folks, my father included, who saw the Beatles in '66,
Wow.
and I was a few months old. They saw the Beatles at Rizal Memorial,
Mm-hmm.
and they told me the experience until now, which they basically carry until now.
Of
They
course.
they they have to relive it. That they can't go beyond that. They stop, from there, and it's like time stopped for them.
Yeah.
And
If you think about it, man, who whoever saw the Beatles with their own eyes are the luckiest fuckers in the world,
I tell you,
because
you know,
that band did not last long.
I even know a side story to that during their Manila trip. Okay, I actually met the guy, and I think his last name is he's from a well-known family back then, the
Hmm.
Hidalgo family. But I think his dad, this guy was even took lessons under Segovia back in the 60s. Okay, Maestro Segovia. They're Spaniards anyway. So, but short of it was his dad was one of the producers of the Beatles. So
The
he
show.
went to, yeah, Manila Hotel and was introduced by his dad to the Beatles
Mm.
and uh, told John Lennon or something, or hey, this is my son, and he plays guitar. And I shit you not, he has one of the guitars. He, I think it was John who gave him a guitar.
Oh
And
shit! He has John Lennon's guitar.
in the Philippines, that's what he claims. That's what he told me.
Holy shit! And he
And I,
still has it.
and I apparently he pawned it to an uncle or
Oh,
something.
come on. Well, okay. At least it's
Oh,
with the.
okay. You haven't heard that story, but this is, man, I swear,
Yeah.
that's the story.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool, man. A few years ago, I went to San Francisco
Mm-hmm.
because my mom wanted to visit her friend over
Mm-hmm.
there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so we took a road trip,
Mm-hmm.
and I was with my brother, and it was the weekend of Outside Lands,
Mm-hmm.
which is the music festival they have up there in SF.
Mm-hmm.
And Paul McCartney was headlining
Mm-hmm.
Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
So we were there Saturday night, but we didn't have tickets, so we didn't. So we just stayed outside
Yeah. To listen. Yeah.
to listen. And
Yeah.
I'm just like nudging my brother, man. It's like, dude, that's fucking McCartney, man.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
one of the fucking Beatles we're listening to right now.
Yeah.
I'm like, tangina. So imagine if you actually are there
Yeah.
watching.
Yeah.
And the beauty of it is like Paul McCartney was on tour before all of this COVID shit happened.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
know, Ringo Starr still plays. So the two Beatles, you can still watch the two
It,
Beatles if you
well,
wanted
yeah.
to, man.
I think this pandemic has really pulled the rug from under everybody.
Oh
So
yeah,
everybody's affected by it. Of course, more so us, because we're just close to the bottom. We're slightly in the middle, but anything might happen anytime. Expect the worst,
yeah,
and that's us. But I'm thinking, on the other hand, this time that we're spending now at home with our loved ones or anything of that sort, it's time for us to be. It's a good time for us to take stock of ourselves. What really matters in life. Look at this. There's no rock and roll,
yeah.
right? Let's say if you're doing bands, uh, have we stopped becoming ourselves when the music stopped, or are we
Oh
still
yeah,
ourselves?
exactly. Yeah, that's a
Right?
good point.
Yeah. Or are we still? Yeah, we're still talking about music. We In the last 1 hour and 30 minutes, we just basically ran through the whole
Yeah,
from
we.
from theaters, but we're talking about music. It's music.
Yeah, yeah,
So I'm saying, well, yeah, we're learning to be, maybe, to be more in touch with our real nature. That's what I'm thinking right now. Now
oh
it
yeah.
doesn't it it
I'm sure
doesn't
a
mean
lot
that.
of people.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people have discovered a lot about themselves during
Well, yeah.
this time.
Your capacity for endurance, your capacity for care, You know
Your
how you
capacity for bullshit.
yeah, your capacity for bullshit. You take whatever's going on,
Yeah.
whatever shit show is happening behind, in the background. You try to and focus on really what matters is
Yes.
your circle, and that's
Yes.
it. And what can we do? These are powers
Really.
that be,
Yeah.
but
No,
things
you're
come
right.
and
I
go.
mean, at the end of the day, man, what can we do?
Yeah, but things come and go,
Yeah.
and then lest they be, anybody be too arrogant with the fact that they think that just because maybe you're the boss now, you'll still be the boss tomorrow.
Yeah.
Things change.
Yeah. Nothing lasts forever, man.
Yeah, it's like you were doing, you were all right with Wolfgang 1 minute, the next minute you're here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why?
And when you're there, when you're in the middle of it, you're like, oh, dude, this is never gonna end.
Yeah, and you always think like that,
Yeah.
and that's one of the things that sort of kept me at least holding my feet to the fire in terms of my music, because I always think this is going to end.
Yeah.
This is not going to be forever. I mean, it's like you're witnessing it's like you're seeing a rare eclipse, and that eclipse happened.
Hmm.
And some guy was too late. So somebody comes up to me, when are you gigging again? I really miss you. I said, where did I meet you in the old days? No. Well, too bad.
Yeah.
What am I going to do? Recreate that for you? I'm old. I said, I'm I'm out of step.
Yeah.
What can I do? So I'm
Well,
like that.
that's another thing. It's like I'm sure so many people are just. I mean, both musicians and audience are just like, um, it's like shit, man. The next concert I'm gonna go to, I'm gonna fucking pay attention to the band and
Mm,
not just go there to drink and hang out with my buddies.
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because they've experienced it. Like, dude, by this time in from let's say January, October, I would have watched like five major concerts by now. I mean, major arena stadium concerts, dude.
Hmm.
And I, and it's like, oh my god! And then I picture in my mind the
Hmm.
past concerts that I've been to, and I'm like, oh my god, I miss watching bands. I miss playing. I'm. It's just and the thing is, I don't take it for granted. Every time I go to a show, I'm in it, man.
Hmm.
I am exercising my demons when I go to concerts,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure, and then so I don't take it for granted. But there are a lot, when I observe, I'm also an observer of other people.
What was the last gig you saw? Anyway.
Oh shit! The last gig,
Mm.
fuck. I shit. I'm not sure, man. I don't even remember. I don't even remember. It's been so long already.
I'm not even sure anymore. I think the last gig I saw was Pat Metheny at UCLA. I take my hat off to guys like yourself who can actually go to arenas or big stadiums, because I can't stand, large places. It
Right,
gets
right.
kind of,
Yeah,
I'm sort of a bacteriophobe. And
yeah,
even before this pandemic, I just hate being there. It's, if I'm going there, I don't want to have any responsibility at all about driving home, because if I go there, I just want to lose myself, and I
yeah,
can't.
yeah. You
So,
can't. You
so you
cannot.
just, yeah, you
You're
just
gonna get
check,
into a fight.
yeah. So you just check out these small gigs, and for the most part, I just go to either Catalina Jazz Bar, or I go to Pat Metheny, or to UCLA, where I can catch. I used to catch a lot of good stuff,
Hmm.
and one of the things that I remember there is catching one of my favorite saxophone players, Charles Lloyd, and I think he's in his 80s now, but shit, it's like having, it's like meeting your guru, and he speaks to you, each everything he does on his saxophone, he does it. he does it more than, say, a guy who can play 50,000 notes per bar, and he just does it. And you have that giving, that outward flowing soul.
Yeah,
Man, that was one of, still in my books, one of the best gigs I've ever been to.
yeah. One thing that I like about, because I like I don't mind, arenas and stadiums like that. I
Hmm.
don't get freaked out with a lot of people. But one thing I noticed is that um when someone in that, like I remember Gary Clark Jr.
Hmm.
opened for
Yeah,
Foo
yeah,
Fighters one
yeah,
time.
yeah.
So we got there to catch his set,
Hmm.
and it's a huge arena,
Hmm.
and not everyone was inside. People were still drinking and eating outside,
Hmm.
and but whoever was there, and then he started playing. And this guy is like that. He's no holds barred. He's like,
Hmm.
and then he's just playing.
Hmm.
When I get how in a small venue, the
Hmm.
intimate thing, and then someone's expressing themselves, like you can feel it, you can hear it.
Hmm.
But when it's in an arena like that,
Hmm.
and he is pouring it out, and there's like 10,000 people who are, and it's not the whole
Hmm.
audience yet, because so, but
Uh-huh.
it's a lot of people already, so
Connecting to
10,000
it.
people are just watching this guy, and they're reacting to it.
Hmm.
And it's a nice feeling, because it's a whole it's 10,000 people just
Yeah.
when
There's
he,
a.
and that feeling's like, oh wow, all these other people felt that lick, they
Yeah.
felt that guitar lick, man. So
Hmm.
that's what I miss about going to concerts, man. It's
Yeah.
that communal expression and
Hmm.
acceptance of love
Hmm.
through the music.
Yeah.
Man, there's this one gig that I watched. The singer of the Black Crowes, Chris Robinson,
Hmm.
and his band, Chris Robinson Brotherhood,
Hmm.
and it's a jam band.
Hmm. Yep.
Improv, jamming.
Hmm.
That gig was in a small venue here in Orange County.
Hmm.
It was so good, man,
Hmm.
that everybody in the audience was hugging and high fiving.
Hmm.
It was just so good. Complete
The
strangers were
feeling's good.
hugging and high
Yeah.
fiving, and like, man, that was so fucking good, man.
Hmm.
I mean, that was like the first time I ever saw something, experienced something like that, when the audience, total strangers to one another, were just like agreeing that, wow, that show was just wow. Did you feel that, man? It's like, yeah, I
Yeah.
felt it, man. Ah,
Yeah. 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 I know that feeling. That when that feeling comes. I forget when was the last time. I think that was Sting in Manila. I think the first time was like that. That was the feeling.
oh, really?
Yeah, when Sting came to Manila the first time. The second time was not so much because the crowd was too spread out or something
Mhm.
to get that. Um, yeah, that was essentially, yeah, that was the feel. That was really good. Uh, yes.
It's like when you're watching a sporting event, and the
Yeah.
guy, I mean, and then, let's say, your team scores the winning basket,
Yeah.
and the people in the row in front of you are high-fiving you. They're
Yeah.
high-fiving each other, they're high-fiving everybody.
It's the
It's like
collective the collective celebration.
yeah,
That's it. Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
even if you're total strangers, you just like, yeah, man, that feeling. That's
Yeah.
what I miss about
Yeah.
going to live shows.
Yeah. No, I wish, one day, yeah, I can do that again, but, more from in my case, maybe even more sedate. You don't do too
Sedate.
much. Yeah, that's for me. It would be more, yeah, more, what's this? Button up.
Yeah, yeah,
or something like that.
yeah.
Something like
Yeah. I
that.
mean,
But
mm.
try to look like a distinguished legislator than a singer. I'm just kidding.
Oh
So
my god, that's not the in thing nowadays,
yeah,
pare.
yeah, well, yeah, that's not, but I look forward to that. Again, one day, even if I'm just taking pictures or you know taking taking photos. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
man.
happy with that. It's like when I caught you guys, it gave me something. At least, even if I'm not doing music, I'm close to the music, and it's still music.
Hmm.
It's there are two different things because for some people, because they think that, well, you're not on stage. Well, you don't really have to be on stage.
Yeah, your spirit is there, man.
You just have to be there in spirit.
Yeah.
You just have to essentially dig in. That's it. It's like your plate that's been handed to you. What are you gonna do? Not eat from it?
Yeah,
Come
yeah,
on. What do you want the guy to do? To feed him? To
yeah,
feed you?
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
not
yeah.
gonna happen.
No, that's the thing. It's like your mere presence there. That night
Mhm,
was like, okay, cool, man. We're here.
mhm,
This is probably, I think that was the first electric show of melodies,
mhm.
and you were there. So
Yeah,
it's like, okay, Binky's here, man. I mean, if Dave was there, if Paco was there, then there. Even though you're not
mhm,
playing, you're there.
yeah.
The presence is there, so that
I just
you know.
I can hang out.
Yeah.
I can really I can do that. It's just sad, the uncle I hang out with, he passed on early this
Oh,
year. So, I there'd be one less company
yeah.
when I check out the gigs.
Oh, right, right, right.
But whatever happens, I think, this pandemic is going to end. And obviously some folks hopefully we are among the folks who will be emerging from this stronger, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wiser, in many respects, more caring of others
Yes.
than, than the others who will obviously fail,
Yeah.
judging from how they behave now, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
I really hope that, or at least the world becomes more circumspect about things. Hey, finally we realize that we're all connected. One gets sick, and before you know it, it's like a
Everyone's
chain
sick.
letter. Yeah,
Yeah.
jeez, how the hell did that happen?
Yeah.
Right?
It's it in our lifetimes, and even our parents' lifetimes
Mm-hmm.
has this happened. Because
Yeah.
the last time there was something like this was Spanish flu, which
Mm-hmm.
was in the 1910s.
Mm-hmm.
So none of the people who are alive now weren't there,
Yeah.
no matter how old they are,
Yeah.
unless they're really old. I mean, unless they're
Well, my grandma, in fact,
uh huh.
just for the record, she just turned 100 this month
Holy
or last month.
shit!
Yeah,
Oh my god, dude!
and she was quarantined because she caught it from one of her caregivers,
Holy
apparently.
shit!
Yeah, but
Did
she made it.
she survived?
Yeah, she's made of stern stuff.
Damn.
I take it from Gene Simmons. He said, my parents. What's this? He said recently. Oh, my parents experienced World War II. If they see how we behave now, they will think we were crackheads.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they,
Yeah.
I guess that's how it is.
Dude, if those guys who died in World War II would see these fucking Nazis now,
Well,
they'd be the ones to
well,
shoot these
well,
fuckers,
well,
man.
I don't know.
You're like,
Well,
tangina nyo, I fucking died for your shit, and you're
yeah.
gonna do this shit, man.
Well,
Anyway,
it's
but
it's shame. Sean,
yeah,
It's a shame, but
But like you, I always look on the, like, the Monty Python song. You always look on the bright side of life,
yeah, yeah.
because you always have to hope. Because if there's no hope, then what the fuck are you doing it for, right? Yeah.
We got to find a way to keep on. It's like I know that at some point we're all gonna go downhill, but
Hmm.
we're in no rush.
Yeah, we're in no rush. Exactly, man.
That's the
No one's
thing.
in a rush. We just
I
want to enjoy life, man.
Yeah, I understand. We're all going. We're all going, whether
Yeah.
we like it or not. But what I'm saying is, I don't need to speed up the process. This is not an immigration case. So you go ahead. Let me just, I'll walk slowly and smell the flowers. I don't mind if I'm limping. That's life.
Yeah,
And
man.
and with music too, I really wish you guys and whoever's going to be the guest on your program, at some point, I wish you all the best, and gather us all together. Let's have a huddle or something, and just play music or something, and comment, bystand like those two Muppets in Muppet Show,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, the two old dudes in the
But yeah,
balcony.
we can be that. Oh yeah, that's shit.
Yeah, man. The
Oh, I
peanut
don't know about
gallery,
the.
man.
Yeah, we can do peanut gallery stuff. But
Dude, you know what I want to happen in the Philippines? And I can't do it because I'm not a comedian. I can't
mhm,
write a joke for shit to save my
mhm.
life. But they should bring back 6 o'clock news. Do you remember six
Oh
o'clock
yeah,
news?
hell yeah.
Dude,
Before,
that fucking predates the Daily Show of Jon Stewart
yeah,
by what? 15 years?
yeah,
Diba?
yeah,
Oh my god, that show. Oh,
yes, yes.
if they could only, I mean, if they could, that I gauge the the situation in the Philippines on that, parang, if a show like 6 o'clock news can run in the Philippines
Mm-hmm.
without getting canceled or without the cast getting murdered
Mm-hmm.
or kidnapped or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
then I think the Philippines is in good shape.
I
Because
think we're all gonna be all right once we get more real comedy.
yeah,
Because what's happening right now in the Philippines is, I think for the most part, when I see things and that they most people now would see as funny, I don't really see. I don't even. It doesn't even strike me as funny at all.
no, not at all. No, 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 no.
There's nothing, really. I kind of miss it, like the old days. I'm from, just got to understand that my generation is was basically raised on comedians who were on vaudeville,
Yeah,
or vaudeville. So
yeah,
we were raised on that. The Jario jokes where you get hit
yeah.
on the head and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Cafeteria aroma.
exactly, that was the 80s for you. Before that,
That was my favorite show, man.
before
Cafeteria
that,
aroma, man.
yeah,
That was so
the
funny.
shit, Minyong Villegas.
Young, yes.
Shit, man.
And he would play guitar. I'm like, this guy can play anything on the guitar,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So he would do sort of these he would suddenly break into Van Halen and then stop it.
Yeah. He would stop it. It would his guitar licks would be like like the punchline of a joke.
Yeah. And the last note would be bad.
Yeah.
It would be a perfect lick if if not for the last note. The last note, he really had control, and that's it.
Yeah.
I come from that generation,
Right.
from way back. I even saw those guys in the Philippines, sa Peria,
Uh-huh.
small town fiesta. I saw them.
Yeah.
Ating Daldal, Manok.
Also, they had an act.
Yeah, they had an act.
Wow.
These
Improv
guys were stage
or
showers. They had stage shows back then.
right.
I saw them, man. And I remember each one of those, their antics, all of them. I just brought that on stage.
Mm.
I needed that, because that's the link
Yeah.
From what I told you, the nightclubs that I, went to as a child, all these nightclub acts from Rico Puno, Imelda Papin, all of these, Rojas Boulevard nightclub acts. Shit, man. All of that I just brought on stage.
Right.
That was just the secret sauce in what I was doing.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But what I was doing was really making it salty. To get saltier.
Salty or bitter.
Yeah.
No, salty is good, man.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Lampano, thank you very much for doing this, man.
Well, no problem. Always, man, and thank you to you as well. And it's been great to meet you. And finally, it's just to have you know the this conversation, even to revisit the old days.
Yeah.
I I really appreciate this a lot. And if there's anything you need of me, just or from me, just let me know, and
Well,
we can go
we're
ahead.
gonna have our Koreatown
Yeah, of
buffet.
course, man. It's on me, and this will be over. This will be
Yeah.
done. We just got right now. We stay alive. We stay safe. Keep everybody we care about safe as well.
Wear that goddamn mask, man.
Yeah, that's it, man. Just wear it. Eh,
All right, this has been WDRS Live Talk. I gotta get used to it. This has been WDRS Talk.
yeah,
Maiden
WDRS.
episode one with Mr. Binky Lampano. Thank you very much, sir. Peace out, and you
Peace
have a
out and
great
good
night,
night.
man.
Have
Thank
a
you
good
very
night.
much.
Thank you. Up and up. Thank you.